Hey guys, bit of an unusual one for me. I don't normally post commentary or just really any kind of videos where I sit and talk to you for a while. But I've seen this price rise coming from Games Workshop for their change over to fine cast miniatures, and also I've seen their new restrictive policies on selling to people in the rest of the world. And well, I've been playing Games Workshop games for 20 years. I've worked for the company. You know, it's a bit of a social stigma. People think you're a bit geeky playing it, and I've always sort of like stuck through it. Never really had a big problem with it. But more and more recently, and more in the last few years, as I play at home rather than in Games Workshop stores and play with my friends, you know, I put a lot of investment into Games Workshop stuff. I've put a lot of, like, built my own tables, terrain, painted a lot of miniatures. I've got a whole company, and then some of Space Marines, lots of High Elves. You know, I've put a lot of investment into GW, and I'm not saying that entitles me to have something, but I don't know, just more and more recently I just felt that as a customer I'm less valued. I can't go into the local GW store now because, quite frankly, I can't stand the staff there. They don't know how to talk to adults, they don't know how to act like adults, they don't know how to act when there's a woman in the room. I'll take my fiancée in there, that goes down well. I went in there the other day just to buy a paintbrush and a pot of Chaos Black paint, which by the way cost me a better part of £5.70 odd. Ridiculous. And yeah, you know, what I got was barely grunts. I just can't stand their policies, the way they treat gamers. You know, what is it that they think we should do? I mean, we just open wallets to them as we walk in. I've always been given the hard sell every time I go into the store, so I just don't go there now. I go to Darksphere, which is the discount retail store in London. Really good guys, by the way. Would recommend them. They're great, really good customer service. I can browse in there in peace. I don't feel that someone's trying to shove something new down my throat. But back to the original point, was this markup, this bizarre 10 through to about 27% markup, because they're changing the material from metal, which is, we know, getting very expensive because there's a lot less natural resources in the world, and resin. It's kind of a plastic resin, similar to, as I understand it, the stuff that Mantic use. Now, okay, so they're going to have to develop some new techniques, and yeah, it's probably more labour intensive. They're going to have to get some staff trained to use this new material, and they're probably going to have a lot of miscasts and things like that. Fine, that I can get on board with that. I can understand that. What I don't understand is why it had to come along with such a large price rise, especially on the back of, in the UK, the move to 20% VAT. The economy's not great. Well, no one's economy's great, you know, at the moment. There's, you know, inflation. People are living with the same amount of money but trying to make it go further. And Games Workshop don't seem to understand, or I don't feel that they understand, that there is only so far you can take a hobby. You know, there's only so far that you can justify to yourself and to other people, and you know, and really, when you look at what you're getting, you can justify. You can pick up the thing and say, well, that represents good value to me. They've lost the plot. It just doesn't represent value to me at all anymore. There's, you know, so the craziest one I saw was £25.50 for 5 Stern Guard miniatures. A good sized Stern Guard squad is £51. £51 for 10 miniatures, £5 something each for a miniature. Where's the value? What am I getting out of that now? You know? Yeah, it's great I get to play a game, but what do I get out of it? You know, it does. I put those models on the table and I look at a £50 note and I'm thinking one doesn't equal the other. It hasn't for a while now. Vehicles, they represent pretty decent value. I picked up the Storm Raven recently. It's in my cabinet over there. That was a great kit. I really enjoyed putting that together, and for the price that did represent value. But then I look at a Rhino or a Razorback, not quite the same value. I look at the new Dreadnought kit, the Venerable Dreadnought kit. Love it, really good kit, represents value to me. But then you pick up the old Dreadnought and you think, not so much value. And is that because we're talking about more components, more detailed miniatures, so the older miniatures then don't represent so much value? I don't know. But I I really feel like GW are out to screw us for as much as they can, and that makes it all the more worse when people who've found a good deal, who are already getting shafted by 190% more cost than it would cost in the UK, especially that's the guys in Australia. Those guys, I feel for you guys, man. And you know, where do they get this equation that on one side they can charge something in the UK for one price, and on the other side they can charge double the price? You know, your currency isn't worth twice as much as, you know, don't get $2 to the pound. Where does it come from? And then they turn around and actually put a clause in and stop successful resellers, you know, Wayland, Maelstrom, Darksphere, some others, from actually selling to you guys. So now they can't even choose which customers they sell to, and you can't even choose who you buy from. You're forced to buy this stuff from Games Workshop or your local stores. Now, don't get me wrong, support your local stores. I support Darksphere because they're my local stores, and I think it is very important to actually support the community in your area. But again, this goes back to the whole thing of representative value. If something doesn't represent value to you, why would you pay all that money for it? You just wouldn't. You know, I can't even remember how much you guys are paying for 10 tactical marines. 10 tactical marines. What does that actually represent in the game? It's, you know, it's not a massive investment. It's not a big unit. It doesn't do a lot of stuff. You know, all right, it looks good, but then those molds are quite old, and I'm sure they paid the designers off a long time ago. So, what's their profit? How much are they actually gouging us for? I guess it's kind of a rant. I felt I needed to have a rant because I'm just sick and tired of Games Workshop playing us for fools now. You know, for me it started when they put the core box games, which was what, Battle from a Crag and Skull Pass, 40 to what is up to 60 now for a core game, and I can't get my friends interested. I'd be embarrassed to turn around and say, hey, do you want to start this game? By the way, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg before you even get to actually play on the table. You know? And then they start putting the battalion boxes up, and those are supposed to represent good investment, good value. I don't want to try and play a game where to actually be able to just to play, I have to shell out £250, £300. I mean, okay, that's probably an overstatement, but anyone who does really like converting, likes painting miniatures, you know, paints are expensive, they don't come for free. Spare parts, miniatures for conversions don't come for free. If they want to promote rule sets where you need more miniatures, like Warhammer 8th Edition, if they want to promote rule sets like that, maybe they should start looking elsewhere for inspiration, like Perry Miniatures and Mantic. You know, okay, it's not necessarily Mantic, well, they are, they're not up to Games Workshop quality, I'm sorry. I like you guys, I've met you at a couple of shows and I've been down to see your demos, but it's not up to Games Workshop quality, let's be honest. But still, you represent good value. When I look at what I get for £50, yeah, that's a good investment to me. So Games Workshop, pull your heads out your asses really. Look around at your competition in the world in general and realise that you're not the only guys out there making a game. You might be the biggest, you might have the retail presence in the UK, but how long will that last if you keep pushing people away with price rises, with changing rule sets so frequently, or making miniatures represent their cost in the codex in a monetary sense? You know, I don't know. You guys need to work it out. That's what you're there for. But for me, you're not doing it for me anymore, guys.